Yeah, so we'll get into it. I'm gonna do a test here and see see if the file share works. I'm just gonna do a quick kind of test example or something like that, and then we'll get into planning to do some flip simulations, some droplet stuff today. All right. I'm just gonna start with this circle, go to polygon, do the open, unroll or whatever. And let's see. Maybe trying to think what the best way is to do this. All right, I'm just overthinking this. Demon Case, how's it going? Yeah, let me just do a quicker test than I was thinking about. So I'll just do this copy to transform, or copy and transform, and just put in some expressions here. So this is kind of like a gyroscope device or something like that. I'm doing all right. Hanging in there. Maybe multiply this by 3 and turn on the real-time playback. All right, I don't know, it's a test. So I'm gonna save this in the stream folder, my stream folder here. Happy Sunday, Alkama, how's it going? This is October 4th. I got the spooky day today, spooky month. 10-4. Lazy Sunday. All right, this will just be a test. Gyro. So I tried to set this up with my shelf tool here. Click this button. Aha! So this is, it's still kind of a work in progress, but basically I've made this shelf tool that will upload, make a copy of my scene, working scene file, upload it, and then put a link into the chat. Oh no, it didn't work. A typical failure. Okay, I think I see what happened. Let me just make sure. We need some permission. No, I just messed up the file path. I think it's posted. Yeah, there's too many streams in the URL. It can't work the first time. Yeah, so I'm gonna have to, one stream too much, yeah. So I'm gonna edit my script real quick. Just gonna turn off, I have some passwords, stuff like that in the script, so I don't want, I have to hide my screen for a second. All right. So I think just kept adding too many streams. All right. We'll close this. Bunch of nerds here. Everyone figured it out quickly. Yesterday's highlight. So the VODs, the Twitch UI isn't the best. Let me see if this one works. You just go to twitch.com/John Coons, where you're watching it. The Twitch is kind of, they keep updating their UI and stuff like that. But if you just click on my icon here, then you would get the videos section and you can see all the VODs and stuff like that. I haven't figured out, or I haven't just had a chance to upload and do this stuff, whatever, for YouTube yet. But if you want to get just the current stuff, you can find it that way. Let's see if it works. Oh no. Okay. I forgot a slash. All right. It's working now. Sorry to spam everyone with all these failed links. All right. Let's see if it works. I think that one works. So even if you take this link, whoops. I'm trying to make some more tools and stuff like that for this to work. But basically if you take this, you do a new Python shell, you do who.hipfile.merge with that URL, then you should get another stream. Let's go. You should get the, uh-oh. All right, I think I just had a space in there. Then you would get your files, my current working session in your, yeah, if you do that command, you get your, the scene files. I'm trying to set the import in. I'm trying to build a shelf tool that will do it, but I think it's not ready to go yet. It's kind of there, but I just debugging too much stuff today on stream or whatever. The share works, so we'll just go with that for right now, and then I'll try to keep improving the other stuff. The hula hop. Is it possible to render separate AOVs for different volumes in Redshift and Houdini? Some kind of Reddit post. Awesome. Slightly less scuffed. All right. I'm not 100% sure what you mean with different separate AOVs for different volumes. Like, if you're thinking one AOV per unique volume, it might not work. I don't know, I might have frozen my, oh, there it is. All right. 2 in 1, 2 volumes in 1 AOV. To render 2 volumes, ink drops and water caches VDBs. Touch them both separate. I'd like them 2 different passes. I don't know if it's possible to do it separately. File sharing working like a champ. Yeah, I figured it would, hopefully it will still get improved and stuff like that, but I figured it would be easier for people to follow along. Like, otherwise, I feel like if you get lost, you're just kind of tapped out for the stream or for the day. But this way, it should make it easier to, it might be a little tedious the way it is right now, but it should be easy for people to get caught up, or if they missed a step or a checkbox or something like that, they'll at least have like a save point, a checkpoint. Yeah, so I'm sorry, Nightwing, I'm not 100% sure. I think with Redshift, you're kind of limited. Like with Mantra, you could script your own AOVs and customize it that way. With Redshift, I'm not 100% sure, but I think you're just, you might be able to kind of hack it with lights and stuff like that if you make a separate light group for each volume. But like out of the box, I don't know how easy it would be. So like you could set one light to go for the ink, and then this light, you'd want a volume contribution if you did AOV light group to ink. Then you could get kind of a clean AOV like that for the volume. But it's not as clean as it could be with Mantra. With you could export like the specific named variable or named pass that way. Does that make sense? You could just do all light groups there, and then it would automatically do an individual AOV for each one. There might be a better way. I'm not sure, because they have this. I've never used this node. I'm not 100% sure. Yeah, so basically, I mean, you could do a quick test here. Let's just do the pig. Make them into a volume. You can do VDB or ISO offset or whatever you want to do. I'm just gonna try to mash this out super quickly. So this is the density. Just make sure the name is that way so the Redshift shader can pick it up. This geometry maybe will be just a sphere. Turn it into a volume as well. And make sure it's density. So those are your two volumes, a pig and a sphere. Let's just say you have a, I don't know, Redshift light. I guess you'd stick with area, move it up 5 units, and then just rotate it. Yeah, I wasn't sure how, I think I was trying to think ahead too many steps in my own mind. So I wasn't sure if it made sense for everyone, so I figured just to do a quick example. So just put the camera here, and basically this method, you want the light volume contribution for sure, so it can illuminate those. You could build a volume shader. I don't know if we 100% need it. Let me just see what we get with this. So this is like the beauty, the main AOV. And then if you wanted these volumes in separate AOVs, If you do, this one could be a light that's only for the pig. So your object associations, just take the pig head and put it in there. And then another light that would be the sphere. Maybe prefix this just like light. And then for this object association, just put the sphere in there. The AOV light group, if you want, sometimes I just do $OS to get the name of itself. So you don't have to worry about just tediously typing that in multiple times. And then on the Redshift ROP, just do all light groups. This, I don't know if it's needed, but you could do, I think that was a different area. So just leave this how it is. Volume lighting. Let's take a look. Maybe just do the bucket render. Hello, hello, Ruby Yachts. So I might have messed this up. Let me take a look up here. Objects. I don't know if we need the full file picker. I think we do. Ruby Yachts, thank you for the 3 months. Let's go. Yeah, I don't know. I think this should work. Maybe just making a material just in case. Let's give it a go. All right, we do this as, I don't know, maybe put some color in just for fun. Make sure that the material is assigned. Yeah, could be some issues with Redshift. If you have the lights set up separately like that, they should be giving you separate objects. I don't know if I need to set this differently. Let's just try it one more time. Volume lighting, all light groups. Could try it with just the beauty. Yeah, it might be an issue with volumes with Redshift. Sorry about that. If you guys want to investigate, you have Redshift and everything like that, you could give it a try. So you could take a look at that file if you want to try. Yeah, I think either forums or there's the Go Procedural. There's the Redshift forums that they're like developers and stuff like that look at. There's also the Go Procedural Discord. But yeah, I feel like there's not a ton of active users in the Houdini Reddit, and then the amount that are using Redshift might even be less. All right. So I'm gonna move on to doing some flip stuff today. This is kind of inspired. There was a question or a suggestion in my Discord, who's doing. Let me see if I can get it real quick. It was like these kind of bi-directional flip simulation. There was like things moving upwards and downwards with gravity, basically. Trying to see if I can see it real quickly. Yeah, I don't know if I can find it right away. All right. So yeah, good luck with the post. So I'm just gonna start off with the flip tank, I believe. Let's go into, could do particle fluids, flip tank, and make one here. So by default, you get the sparse. I guess, I don't know if you should call it sparse, but this, I guess, narrowband is the better name for it. Even stuff underwater is still getting treated like it has fluid or it's underwater. For this effect, or for this situation, I'm gonna try it with turning that off. We'll do, on the flip object itself, initial data, if you just switch it over to particle field, then you get the full area. So the reason I'm switching this to the full area, you could try doing maybe this pop force, set it to the particle velocity. Maybe do attract. So if you want to try to pull the fluid to a certain goal position, you can do it with the pop attract, kind of like a magnet force or something like that. It's a little weird. If you like the flip suction shelf tool would be better if you're actually trying to form like a sphere or something like that. But I'm just doing a quick thing to show why I'm doing this. So if we just get particles at the very bottom of this. GABA DSG, how's it going? We're doing some flip, playing with anti-gravity stuff. So I'm trying to get like some just individual tendrils or fluid kind of ripping away from the fluid itself. Houdini, pulling out tricks like Houdini. So this is our goal position for the group. You could do like at p dot y is less than -3. So another thing you can do if you want to really check these groups, you can do pop color to kind of debug stuff. So let me just make sure this works. I might need to I think it's possible I need to deactivate the guide for that to work. All right. Okay. So now it's working. So if I look at everything maybe below -2, that's what I want to be grabbing with this group for my attract. So it's hard to see, but basically the particles that are very low are getting pulled up towards the goal position, and then once they get above -2, they stop getting pulled up. So they leave that group. You'd see there's like a little bit of. This is not Windows. I'm I'm back in Linux today, just for everyday use or whatever. I'll usually go into. Looks like I missed my group selection there. For everyday use, I prefer to use Linux with keeping like scripts in sync and running stuff like that. It just seems to perform, seems a bit more stable and like memory efficient and stuff like that. So you can see the effect this is having here. Basically, if the particle's Y position is below -2, it will try to get pulled or move, get forces applied to it to move it towards this goal position. If we go back to narrowband, you can see this is why I decided not to use narrowband, because there's no particles below -2 to assign a velocity to. It's just the way that this narrowband is kind of optimized or representing the fluid. So if you have a boat going through water or a pool or something like that, or a raft floating on the top, it makes sense to not use particles at a certain depth, but for this effect or for this technique, going into particle field should be better. And then you'd see the other problem is that as these get pulled, they go above my water line here, or the depth limit that I've set is -2, and then they exit the group, or they leave the group, because their position increases such that they're no longer below the -2 units. If we keep this color visualization on as well, you could see the issue with that is that as things are getting pulled up, they should be leaving the group. I don't know what's going on with those things in the middle. Strongly appreciate your streams. Thank you, Salu. Yeah, I don't know, just trying to help people, help myself sometimes have some problems here. But yeah, just trying to provide something useful for people. So I might move out of doing this stuff with the groups this way. It just seems a little inconsistent to be grouping things using that method. This geo, I wasn't using it. I'm just gonna clean it up. I'm just gonna organize these in terms of like order of operations. So this is the source flip tank. I'm sorry, this is the source. These are post simulation visualizations and stuff like that. Flash ATO! How's it going, boss? So one of these we don't need. The fluid interior, this is just an extra duplicate that they create. I usually just delete it. And then this is the main import of the particles and all that stuff. And then over here, this is your source particles or source flip initial stuff. So one thing we can do with this initial particles before they get sent to the simulation, by just trying to think what the best way is to do this. All right, so I'm just gonna maybe do sort random, randomize the point number of everything, and then with a blast. Which artist do you like to hear? I'm not sure. I like to hear any artist. So we'll delete everything except 5 points. So this sort randomization is just going to be the different points that you keep. Are you talking about the music? GABA DSG? Eclectic? Alright, so then with these points right here, there's different ways you can do it. I'm just going to do a copy to points with a sphere, and maybe change the size of them. Then if I just do group over here in the main particles, can do group a bounding object and set it to points. Then you can see it's kind of procedural. You're able to move the selection around and start with a grouping of points. Might make this even smaller. It's pretty nice. So this group will be I'm just going to call it anti. So it's going to be like anti-gravity or something like that. The reason I'm doing this on the initial is that it will get stuck. Like over here, I'm kind of worried that it's a little bit temporary to be grouping things during the simulation. As their position or stuff about them changes, they might no longer be under this rule. And then I'm also just going to get rid of this gravity down here. So the grouping method on that gravity node isn't for particle groups, it's for DOP groups. So I'm not able to use it. It doesn't have that anti-group that I created. So we'll just do another force group. This will be anti, or if we just do exclamation mark anti. So it'll be everything except the anti group. And then negative 9.8. So with this color, what I can do is use it to visualize the anti. Could maybe do red or something like that. And I'm just going to turn that one off for right now. We should see these particles in the group. Let me try adding the force to them. see what happens. RH2, how's it going? So yeah, it looks like I was just having trouble seeing them before, I guess. Sometimes if you press the D key over the viewport, just turn down the point size under the geometry tab. I don't know, it could just be that there's not a good way to see them that easily. It's possible do another pop color. Set this to a dark color. Okay. So maybe doing it that way is a bit easier to see what's going on. So this one colors everything, and then this one is just overriding the colors of the ones that are in the group. We kind of have some bubbles. This is more like air bubbles right now. It's not doing the kind of tendrils that we want. If we just save this, flip, anti-gravity, tendrils, flip. So put this one on the server, the FTP. You'd open it up if you missed steps or got confused or something like that. I kind of made it a little confusing as well. We're gonna look at improving this now so that it's no longer bubbles flying up, it's more of like strings of fluid that keep adding things to the group so that the flip keeps getting like pulled upwards. So to do that, instead of just grouping things once, what we want to do is continuously group portions of it or areas of it. Instead of just initial before the simulation. Then I'm also, I think, also just going to change the way that this grouping happens. So I'm going to just make a box and then move it down below the surface. Maybe even a little bit more. And then scatter points. You can just do the ISO offset again. So this way, I don't have to worry about the resolution, like particle separation changing. If any of these properties like jitter scale or seed or stuff like that changes, the grouping would change. So if we go back to how things were, you see that because they've set this jitter seed to be random every frame, the grouping is like non-deterministic, or it's just flickers around every frame. If I do it this way, the positions that I'm going to be adding to this group are consistent over time. I might switch this. I don't know if this is going to be the best way to group stuff. So I'll just leave it like this for right now and take a look. So if I want to, I could do a SOP solver and then do that routine during the simulation. So every frame, those operations would get processed instead of just initially. If I do it this way, I'm just going to add a null here to do like a bookmark or a reference point. So it'll be out group spheres. I could just cut this, Control X, to move it to the clipboard. And then if I go in here, then I can do an object merge and get my initial, what is it? Initial. There it is. All right. So that brings in those points. And if I just do Control V to get to my grouping node back, I can just wire it in here. And the one thing I want to do here is instead of replace existing, if you do union with existing, this way it will only kind of keep including or adding more points to the groups. It won't keep overwriting or recreating a fresh group. This will just be group anti. I think I could take a look, just play this again and see what happens. So now we have the, it's kind of like, looks kind of like emitters or something like that, but basically that's because we keep just including more things into the group. The ones that are already members of the group or belong in the group remain in the group. So if I go back here and put this back to the default, replace existing, then you can see the issue with that, is that they get overwritten or whatever by the group. So we'll go back to union with existing, and I don't want to do this attract anymore. What I'm going to do instead is just make another pop force. This one, instead of everything except anti, it will be everything that's in the anti group. And we'll just move the gravity the other direction. So we might want to do maybe some more, trying to think. All right. So I'm going to go into the initial and just reconfigure my tank a little bit. Let's go. I'm gonna make it taller, but then I'm gonna lift it up so that it has some more area up top. Let me see where this box is. Should be good. And then over here, maybe do a lower particle separation, kind of a higher resolution. I'm gonna make the particles a little bit smaller as well. So it's kind of just like little individual tendrils or snakes of fluid that get pulled up. Yeah, reseeding is currently on. I might try this maybe with a little bit of viscosity. maybe like 5 or something with a lower number. So I'm just trying the viscosity maybe to have it like a little bit more like paint. We're trying to get more strands and stuff like that happening. I might get rid of the coloring now that kind of know that it works, and go back to the default setting. Maybe let's take a look at my container. Okay, so the other thing I might do is close the positive Y boundary so that the top of this container, the bottom is like things can't leave the bottom of the container, but now they won't be able to leave the top of the container as well. So this will be anti-gravity, and this will just be regular standard gravity. I'm just going to get rid of that stuff. It's a little bit more clear. All right. So we'll do a flip book. Before I do that, I'll just do another copy of this file. If you guys want to update to that one, it will be more current. And let's do our flip book. So I'm gonna see how well it works, but basically the idea here is that this fluid eventually will kind of separate into 2 different sides of this container, like a upper bed or an upper upside down collection of fluids, and then this is like the right side up. So I tried to look briefly through the Discord at the start of this stream, but I wasn't able to find it, but that was basically what the reference was, or the idea was, is that you have this dual kind of horizons of 2 fluids, one kind of bed or collection of fluid on the bottom, and then kind of like a Doctor Strange or Inception or something like that, where it's just the 2 different dimensions, or 2 different realities of gravity or whatever. Link is working. It's good to hear. So I believe it's swirly, Steve. Yeah, so I don't know about, I've just left everything default. It might make sense to change reseeding or to change into splashy. Midstream links. Yeah, I feel like it's a little bit easier for people to stay on the same page. Like if you miss something, I feel like it's just too, before, without the links, like you miss something, you just either have to try to look through the VOD, and then you're like behind real time, and you just are, I don't know, get frustrated and give up or something. This way it should just be easier for people to not get lost, I guess. So I might want to turn reseeding off to get rid of the stuff that's going down. Game changer. All right, so I'm gonna turn reseeding off. The Corignan had a good catch there. And we'll try another flip book. Yeah, so I'm still working to improve that midstream links, but this is kind of the beta O'Rourke stage of things. But yeah, so maybe I could make some tools that would keep things in sync or stuff like that even better. Beta. The one thing I was looking at was, I don't know if anyone has ideas or experience with it, but they have the Houdini session sync that you can use, but I figured it wasn't really suitable for this situation. Let's see how this is doing. So the reason behind turning off reseeding is reseeding basically tries to introduce new particles so that the fluid retains its shape or like kind of volume. Like if you pour a drink on the floor, it spreads out really big and you might need more particles to represent that. So for like super realistic fluids, sometimes you want reseeding so that basically things don't like dissolve. But the issue with that is that the reseeded particles don't belong to the group. Pop fluid. What do you mean on top? The Elm Street. Oh, to keep a pop fluid node in addition to have more like adherence. Like you think that would have more of a blobby. Okay, yeah. So yeah, well that's going. So you can do with the Houdini engine stuff. They have this. Where did it go? Session sync. So I think what this does is it's intended for local use. Like if you're running Unity, you run this, and then if you're changing parameters or everything is basically like your network graph is in sync with Unity. So if I was running this session sync and doing this like in a Unity or whatever, Maya, whatever you're running the session sync with, the same changes would happen. But it seemed like for doing this like with the wide internet, like it was going to turn into security risks on my end, maybe like leaving ports open and having people directly like sync into my IP address. It was going to be too big of an issue or whatever. So I decided not to do that route. Maybe if it's possible, like a VPN or something like that, you could have it set up securely, but it's just going to be too big of a mess for right now. Oh, nice. This is pretty cool. You think they filmed this? They built the entire room upside down. I'm guessing that's probably how they would have had to approach it. Practical upside down. Yeah, even the hallway scene in Inception. The majority of that was practical, right? They were doing. I feel like you get. Pretty realistic results just doing things that way. Christopher Nolan is a big fan of the practical. Planning for this one might be a nightmare. All right. So basically, as things fall into the tendril areas, they keep getting added to the group and they're able to flow up. Not sure why some of these are still dripping down. Might have to do with the operation here of like volume motion. Could try going into, I'm sorry, yeah, I was in splashy. Maybe swirly is better for keeping the tendrils. Sometimes adding this particle separation in can be helpful. The surface tension, yeah, that could be useful. I do have some, it's possible I want to turn off viscosity right now. It might just be like slowing it down or not helping too much with things. But this particle separation can kind of give you like a more blobby, cleaner kind of look. So I'm gonna go, yeah, maybe instead of viscosity, go into surface tension. Usually I think I start around like 45 or something like that. Seems like 90, like 100 is usually the highest you want to go with it. Let's give it a try. Sometimes that particles separate. I feel like it's a little too much, and it will make things too smooth or too roundy or too blobby. But we'll see how well it works for this one. I'm gonna get some water, and I'll be right back. So yeah, it's definitely preserving the tendrils a lot better. Dubtronics with the surface tension. I think that surface tension is definitely helping it a lot. This is all surface tension. He loves it. Yeah, I think I've seen his some of his other stuff. That stuff right there is pretty difficult to get, like the ripping off into little droplets. Is like a really hard balance to achieve, but usually starting with like crown splash shelf tool can get you started with a good path. Different clusters of viscosity. Yeah, so I could do I guess the viscosity by the attribute and have that doing a variation. Trying to think what would be I feel like something must be causing some of these to leave the group and slide down. I'm gonna go into my fluid import over here. So this DOP import gives you like the visualization that has the color by speed applied to it. What I can do over here is color using the group membership. Just type it in, anti. Do them as red. You kind of see them through it a little bit. So what I can do with these, if I do transform and slide stuff over maybe 6 units, just go 6 as well. You could kind of get the side by side. You're just building like your own kind of visualization technique or whatever. Maybe just merging this is better instead of managing the different flags. Just pin the view in this geometry container. Just trying to think if I want any other visualizations or whatever. This should be okay. Yeah, so I'll just do another flipbook. I just want to kind of debug this and see if these ones are indeed leaving the group that's causing them to go down. There's other reasons that they might be falling down. Sometimes if particles get too small, like get separated by the main body of fluid too much, they'll get lost in the pressure solve, or basically the fluid simulation that's happening will ignore them. And they'll just drift off and do their own thing. So that's another possibility for why that would be happening. So it looks like this is happening as well that I didn't notice before, that some of the low gravity or regular gravity ones are getting sucked up, because of the surface tension, they're like stuck with the ones that are getting yanked up, and then they're the ones that are probably falling down. Surface tension per group. I'm not doing anything like that right now. I'm just trying to figure out how to fix this. One's falling down. So I might go into my group building method. So right now we just have this point selection stuff, witchcraft. I'm just gonna hold Alt and move the box down. Would you have to build it manually, as I think surface tension uses the whole surface for the SDF? I believe with the custom surface tension, you'd have to do it with volumes. So you would have to make an attribute of the desired surface tension amount and then do the gas particle to field to rasterize it into a volume, and then you would be able to do it. But I think right now, so this is the tank. If I just move this box closer to the top, make it bigger, could be a little taller, and then merge this. Just gonna rename this to the anti. It's no longer just gonna be spheres. So this way the fluid that gets pulled up with it, once it reaches the top, then it will also get set to belong in the group as well. So I'm just trying to clean up compositionally, like it just is a little weird or confusing if there's stuff kind of lost or in this weird like purgatory stuck between the two realms or whatever. All right. So we'll do another flipbook. Just go back into this visualizer mode. And if anyone is missing it, we could do another file on the server. So we'll take a look now with that box grabbing stuff that's in the top group and see if they fixed it. So let's just put this on top. So if we look at just the flip solver with some of this surface tension business, yeah, so it looks like you're only able to globally set it with this amount. They say it depends on the mass density of the fluid, so it's possible if you change that variable yourself, you could do it. Like to customize it per locally or per particle. Yeah, so it looks like this box is working better now. So let's let this go a little bit longer, but we'll see if those things will get permanently stuck on the top of the area. But yeah, if we look here, could find where the surface tension stuff is happening. So I think that they did move it around to use this surface tension, surface pressure. I'm a little hesitant to mess around with it too much. But yeah, all of these are using volumes, like it's no longer applied to the particle. So to customize it, it becomes a little bit more difficult. This stuff here is pretty cool. So I think visually right now, something that could be interesting is if like the areas that are getting pulled up change over the duration of the animation. So instead of just this area here, like if this tendril stops getting pulled up and another one spurts up or starts in a different area, that could make things look a little bit more interesting as well. So let's just go ahead and try that out. So right now this is just the static group here, point number 0 to 5. I'm gonna try something a little bit different. Just do this pop network. And then instead of a pop source, I'm just gonna do location. Whoops. And the impulse activation, I'm going to do this when the $ simulation frame, the start frame is equal to 1. The simulation frame is equal to 1, so it is the start frame. So this will start with 5 points. There they are. Boom. My life expectancy, I'm gonna go into 1 second of variation. Maybe, I guess that's okay. Maybe 2. And constant activation, we'll do like 12 points per second. Maybe 5. Okay. So I'm not really too worried about the positions of these. The only thing I'm going to be using is the ID numbers of them. So if we take our point cloud over here, could just do a wrangle and connect it up like that. So what I'm going to be doing with these, if we look at the spreadsheet, oops, just a regular SOP spreadsheet instead of the DOP menu. Based off of the ID of which particles, that will be the point numbers that I'll keep. So instead of always being 0 to 5, I'm just going to be keeping whatever point number matches this ID number. It was kind of a weird way to do it, but it's, I don't know, it's like the easiest way to kind of set this thing up and make it pretty like controllable or art directable. So we can say if the, all right. First, I'm just going to get the matching point number. You just set that to find attribute by value. We'll get the index number 1 right here. We're going to be looking at a point attribute. The attribute we're looking at is ID, and just use the point number of the current point. So if it's not found, this will equal -1. So you can see the points are turning on and off over time. If I switch this the other way around, and then you can see the kind of animation that's happening. So these are going to be the points that I want to keep. So I can move this back, see if it is equal to -1 is basically saying it didn't find a match. It couldn't find a matching ID number that corresponds to the point number. So we'll say if this is true, if it did indeed not find a match, just remove the point number. So it doesn't look like anything changed, but before I was just setting them to black, so they were still there and you couldn't see them. I just do Control Z. You could kind of see what you'd still be able to see these, so it'd still be making points everywhere. If I go back to the new method, then that's why I'm actually wanting to remove them or delete them. All right. So this, we'll just say keep only matching IDs. Let's say keep only points that find a match. I think that makes a little bit more sense. All right. So just go to the real-time playback and kind of see some will just get a quick group. They'll still send up a pretty big spurt. It'll just be more round, and then the ones that stay around longer will give you like a stretchier kind of line. Could just organize this stuff a little bit more. Okay. You should be able to go back over here. Let's try it again. We'll do another, just move up maybe to version 2. Whoops. Send another link. Do another flipbook. So I think the other advantage with that, the method of doing the links like this, if you make a clip of this stuff, let's just do this as maybe a test. Let me get the section where I made the duplicate of the file. You see it pops up in the chat there. So if I make a clip of this, the way that Twitch does their clips, like it will still give you the chat alongside of everything. So it's also a cool way to kind of make a bookmark of that file. Let's see if it works. Should come up, right? I did something wrong. Maybe I need to move my interface around. I don't know, maybe it's because I already have the chat open in another window with my stream manager over there or something. Let's see what happens with this. The great fluids. All right, so let's maybe just try Firefox. Just go to that link. Yeah, I don't know. It should be doing should be showing the chat, right? Maybe I need to inspect it further. But yeah, that was my idea behind doing that link in the side, is that if you do a clip of it as well, it should streamception. All right. So let's see how this. Here's the clip if you want to check it out. But yeah, this is looking a little bit more interesting now with the updating, changing areas getting pulled up. Ah, it worked for you. I don't know what I was doing wrong. I don't know. Maybe I just have too many chats open on my end. But yeah, that was the other thing I thought that was cool with this, is that not only staying with the latest like current version, but even for like keeping a bit of history or something like that. Can you click the link though? It is a pain to select the URL. Maybe it needs to be switched into a tiny URL or something. We'll figure it out. We'll just get a bit of trial and error or something. So yeah, this is starting to be a little bit more interesting. Having the files is enough. So yeah, that's the idea behind doing a simple particle simulation or whatever, just to kind of hack the way that they let you do the age and life variation, so that you can easily kind of birth or spawn these little tendril or bubbles or whatever. Is a pretty cool idea. It's possible maybe not having them all go perfectly straight could be cool. So if we go over here, one thing we can do is maybe just attribute randomize. So something I want to do, all right, so before I change these points, if we look over here, even though we're deleting them and changing them, like the point numbers are changing. So if I do an attribute randomize for the P scale, just do this with the random ramp, custom ramp. As the point numbers change, you get some flickering with the random number that gets generated for P scale. So if we just do enumerate before, this we could use copy the point number to the ID before we start deleting things or changing the point numbers. We'll just do this as ID. So now with the randomize under options, you can do the seed attribute by the ID. and no longer will they flicker or change or anything like that. And then can also do noise, attribute noise. We'll do additive to using the current location or position, add noise to the position. We want it to do center and animated. Maybe just play around with some of these settings. Maybe do this to keep an eye on the tank. Seems just a bit hard to visualize. I'm just gonna do it the other way. All right. So I'm just gonna jack up the amplitude here. Might be a bit too much. Maybe the Y amplitude, we don't want to move things around too much, so they just move kind of horizontally. And just do this as move P. I think with this P scale, I don't want stuff to go all the way down to 0. So we'll just say 0.75 to 2. I'll just change the range of the output of this ramp. All right, let's take a look at this. Whoops. We're usually looking at it from this way. Let's do another flip book. So yeah, the idea here is that just break up some of these. Could be cool to have all the lines perfectly straight. I just wanted to see what it looks like with a bit more variation in like thickness of the tendrils, and have them moving around as well. I don't know. Things will be a little bit more dynamic. It might be too busy of like a composition, or like less clear as to what's going on, so it might not be that good, but just want to see what it looks like. Might be my P scale values are too big. We'll see what happens. I'll let this play flipbook a little bit longer. I'll be right back. Joao VFX, thank you for the tier 1. 3 months. How you been? Give me the Portuguese news. I'm doing all right. Hanging in there. You see these guys from the Walter Reed. Look at these lab coats. They got better lab coats than me. The I want one with the big seal on it like that. This is almost like a full paragraph that he has on his. What is this? It's like a contractor lab coat. Dystopian doctors. Yeah, this is kind of like the military contractor vibe or something like that. Where did they all get the green? Oh, that's the surgeon. If you wear green scrubs, does that mean you're a surgeon? This guy's still got the Live Strong band in 2020. I feel like it's been 10 years since I've seen someone with a Live Strong. All right. There's more green pigment in the garment. So I don't know, it just seems like that opening, I guess the start, I might have had too many spheres or too many particles. And maybe it means something. Yeah, I don't know. I was just going by, because like there was the old TV show Scrubs, where the green guy, what was his name, Turk or something like that? He was a surgeon and he was always wearing green, and then the other guy was like a bed nurse or so. I don't know what his job was, but he was always, the Zac Efron guy. He was always wearing blue. So yeah, it might just be the first frame. There's too many. I think overall it is a little bit too chaotic. So I'm gonna turn some of that stuff down that I was doing. So we'll take the P scale. Instead of going all the way up to 2, let's just go up to like 1.2. Drip within a drip. Yeah, at the start, so before I moved too far along, like, this visualization here, white is regular gravity, red is anti-gravity or upside down gravity. So what I was doing up here was like saying, if you reach the top of it, then stay in the top. But I guess I could do like some going the other direction, like back down. Set them back to regular gravity. That could be cool. Before this, I was getting some stuff that was going the other way that fell down, but it just started to look too busy. It was like too much stuff going different directions or whatever. So I'm just gonna clean this selections up a little bit. Instead of going from 0.75 to 2, I'm just gonna be maybe even just do 0.5 to 1.25. And the position, if you just elongate the pulse, then everything will be a lot more subdued or slower or whatever. That should be good. Maybe trying to think. And maybe just go a little bit lower with the particle separation. It's possible turning on OpenCL can give you some speed gains as well with it. A little bit lower with the particle stuff. So 3.5 million, you're getting closer to like final production quality results or whatever. Let's just see what happens. Yeah, there is a little bit of surface tension, and then I also have the reseeding is turned off. Do a new updated copy of the file if you want to take a look at the settings. They'll do another flipbook. So I turned reseeding off. The reseeding can cause issues sometimes, especially when you're doing surface tension. Like you can just make too big of like blobs essentially. Then I also turned on. Yeah, I think with the particle separation, like I only use it for certain circumstances. Like really small scale fluids, like paint droplets, or those kind of like really surface tension type of looks. I found that it's pretty helpful, but for bigger effects like a storm or ocean, or even like a I don't know, like something the size of a bathtub or something like that, I wouldn't really try using it. But I find that for small scale fluids, it does a good job of like making things look really, really blobby and bubbly. So like to get nice kind of round shapes or whatever, I don't know. I think it does a better job at helping you get those types of behaviors. The other way without it, things can like overlap too much, and then when you mesh it, it will just look like things are disappearing. One thing that could be cool maybe is like adding some turbulence to these, but I don't know. I feel like the way it is right now, just having some cleaner is like what I was doing before, where things were just getting like too chaotic. I think just having stuff look relatively clean is a better way to go for this situation. So yeah, I think these kind of structures here you get really, really nicely when you use surface tension and particle separation. You're able to preserve thinner strands more easily without the particle separation. I don't know. Usually I find that these things like collapse within each other too much and like overlap, and then just turn into, especially then when you add reseeding as well, like that's when you can kind of get into a pretty big problem. Maybe it's just like with particle separation, you don't want to use it when you have reseeding turned on, because I think the two of those will kind of like can fight with each other, or give you like escape conditions where it will just keep adding more and more particles. But yeah, these little things are pretty good features to have. The little, I don't know, they're like starts of tendrils that are ripping off from the surface tension. Little crowns starting to form or something like that. I think the start of this, I still have too many streams getting pulled up. So maybe that was one reason I set up everything with the particle solver, my grouping method, so that you can really easily know, like, I just have 5 tendrils at the start, and then over time I'll be creating like the stream, pop stream amount or whatever, like two new group points per second or whatever. Doing small scale sims, I usually do all in medium res. When it's time for final, I tend to crack reseed all the way up and mesh it. Yeah, that's a good idea. It's kind of like doing a up res kind of technique or something like that. Yeah, that's the biggest problem I think with small scale fluid simulations is you need, even right now I might not have enough particles. Like if you want this stuff to look really smooth when you mesh it, you would want even these little gaps and stuff filled in a little bit more. So otherwise, if you do like a really high resolution, you'll see a bunch of little like bumps when it goes to mesh it. So if you are able to fill in these areas, you can get really nice high resolution results. So yeah, I don't know if like eventually if this top area gets too full, it could be cool to start grouping some stuff there to have it fall back down. Gaussian smooth render with motion blur. Yeah, the flip smoothing stuff is a good like dilate, Gaussian blur, the smooth SDF VDB node, and then that can give you some nice results. I feel like that blur also gives you some kind of implied motion blur, like that, because it kind of is like a metaball effect, but just turns things. It's a bit of a hack, so like without motion blur and stuff like that, it can look a little bit weird, but it's a good trick. That's a good idea, RH2. Play it until everything gets to the top, and then do like an hourglass kind of thing. How does this look like in reverse? It's pretty cool. Pog you. Hourglass with flip. This stuff right here is really nice. This tendrils forming like that. Just play from the beginning again. Yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah, it would kind of appear reverse. So it'd be like an endless loop kind of thing. I feel like as well, I don't know how well I've done it here, but if you get rid of the edges of the container, these corners and stuff, like you could start to instance these little boxes and do like a camera that's kind of like flying through the stuff. You would kind of repeat the containers or offset them or something like that. Labs make loop. But yeah, it seems like it would take a bit of time for everything to get at the top. The way things are going right now. Yeah, I think the make loop, all that it's doing is like offsetting your scene by the amount that it is. Like right now I have 240 frames. So I think it's just offsetting 240 frames and then doing like a time blend to interpolate between the start and the end. I think I did some Mixamo. It's just offset and blend. Yeah, I don't know if I still have it. Let me see. So there's this character. I could do noise. Get him. It's like he was in that paint celebration. Dwali, is that what it's called? Just add P position. I don't know if this is going to be issues. Get rid of the texture. Clothing. I don't know if they update the tools every day, but they do update them pretty frequently. This is all the issues. So I could try maybe doing the delta mush. See what happens. Maybe redo the normals for it. I don't know. I was just trying to get something wacky happening. So we'll do this animated. He's having some problems. Oh no. All right. So I think, yeah, I still had it. This was an older OTL or digital asset. I think the game's make loop is doing the same thing. Add vellum render profit. Let me see what happens here. I might have messed this up. So it's meant to just loop between those two frame ranges. Like 1 second of animation. Yeah. So you can see it's looping pretty well. Could turn that off if you just want it to play quicker or whatever. But I think I was doing the same stuff with it. Is you basically just offset is just a bunch of weird math you have to do, but it's a pretty simple thing once you think about it or whatever. But yeah, I think the games one is probably doing the same stuff. This is pretty, I don't know how these guys got stuck. I think it's just that outer layer is keeps peeling off. Animated flags and other, yeah, the time loop stuff. I think it's all a pretty simple idea. Even there's a super old Peter Quint Vimeo one. This is like to make a looping flame. But he's doing the same thing. You could kind of see even in that graph editor. Is basically he's moving the time forward and backward, doing the blend. So it's playing two copies of the same thing offset, and then it's constantly just crossfading between the two of them. Yeah, that's the idea. Half fade opacity. But yeah, if you, I don't know how useful this is, but I think he does a good job of just a better job than I was doing of saying what it is. But you can do that process to cloth sims, volume sims, a lot of stuff. It's really useful for games where you can just keep looping the stuff over and over again. So yeah, this is starting to be pretty cool at the higher res. I might try one more thing and call it a day after that. But I'm realizing, I think one thing that's making it slower to collect at the top is that the white area that's starting to get pulled up with it, that isn't in the other gravity group, is constantly kind of like ripping off of it. So it's not collecting as much as you would think it is. So if I kind of expand the group over time, like dilate it to keep including nearby stuff into the red group, then it should more quickly pull stuff up. So I'll just give that a try and see what happens. All right, so we'll go into the sim. The reverse gravity isn't affected. I'm not doing anything artificial, but I think just the nature of like fluid, bigger masses or bigger volumes of fluid will get more gravity applied to it. Like less force gets added when there's less particles. I'm not doing anything artificial. It's pretty simple. It's just negative and positive 9.8 meters per second. So I might go back up to a lower resolution just to test this out. So this group, right now it's unioning with the existing. I don't know if you can do this group expand. I don't know how well it works with points. Curl noise volume. You mean like a volume force or just turbulence? You could do that. Like one thing you can do is just reuse this turbulence will generate like a scalar or a curl noise. So sometimes I'll do this to like add turbulence to a fluid sim. I'm gonna try, I don't know if this works. Let me see what happens. So we'll take anti, output group will be anti. It might just be based off of connectivity. So what I'm gonna do instead, -1 is full force of the curl noise and +1 would be forward force. So it's like a bidirectional shearing from it. So I'm gonna try this just keeping only the anti-particles. Then if I do like VDB from particles, this should naturally, let me see how this works. Group. So again, we want it to be anti. Do it based off of volume. You can use this ISO surface to select kind of the bandwidth of how much of how close to the VDB surface you want things to be. This might grow larger each frame until everything is grouped. My thought is that it will combat kind of the erosion, like there was some natural erosion that was happening here. So yeah, I was just gonna test it out to see how quick, like it will definitely fill up the top of it quickly. I don't know how much it will eventually grab everything though. But yeah, you can see already like that's how much one frame it will grow by. Yeah, you could scale the top of it in Y. I think this should be okay. I just need to be a little bit more conservative with the settings. So let's give that a try. Yeah, if it doesn't work, that might be a good idea, is to scale the box, top layer box in Y. But I was seeing even on the top of it some areas like that are in the group, but not enough of them to get pulled up. So we'll see what happens with this. Just go a little bit lower with the particle separation. Not the super high res, but a little bit higher res than I was at. It's possible I might have been too conservative with the volume kind of growth settings. I'm gonna go back and update it. Let's take a look. Is it gonna blow up? Uh-oh. Yeah, I think I went too far. It's like oil in a lava lamp. Thank you, Seven Timber. Yeah, it's kind of an interesting, like oil and water or something, just stuff sliding, like separating from each other is pretty cool. So let's just try, just leave this where it was. Kind of split the difference, hopefully. Might still be too much. So one thing you could do is this group, instead of being anti, you just make it a new name that's like temporary anti, so that this one keeps feeding back on itself, and then you're just treating it at the time that you apply it like it's slightly bigger or expanded. Let's see if it works. I don't know if this is the best way to do it. I'm gonna try doing this temp anti point group. If it's in the group, set the color green to 0. So I'm kind of hacking to do 2 groups in one visualization. So with my blue channel here, this is the anti-group that's getting fed back to itself. And then this one is the expanded, like, one that actually gets used for force, to apply the forces. Yeah, I don't know if it's a 5-head move. It might be a blunder. It's nice to have that extra control though, as well. That'll just bring a larger layer of non-anti particle. Yeah, I mean, so I'm just trying to find creative solutions to make the top fill up longer. I think expanding that box as well could be helpful. It does look like it's stopping some of the stuff from like slashing around or whatever. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's definitely cleaning up kind of the chaos and stuff that was happening in the middle, but I think it's giving me a more boring, slightly more boring outcome almost. Because there's less stuff that's going like shearing against itself. It's hard to tell because I'm also comparing 2 different resolutions of the sim. Yeah, I might leave it. And go to a higher resolution, see what happens. I'm also going to make this box bigger so that they more quickly get added to that group. So we're back at 3.5 million particles roughly. We'll do another file share. Do another flipbook. It's a little slower. I feel like that VDB extra step of VDB stuff is slowing stuff down a little bit. It's like you have to build a surface from the particles. Then as you move to a higher resolution, that step becomes like exponentially more time consuming to do it. So yeah, this might be too big of layers and stuff. It might be just making everything too time consuming. I'm gonna just get rid of that extra steps. We'll go back up here, just not include those extra steps. Let's go back to the regular group, the original group. Let's think about this curl noise. I'm not sure what the best way is to apply that curl noise, because right now I just have -1, or I'm just have the two groups, so I don't know how I would be able to do to get most of the fluid around 0. My fear is, like, if I do it right now, this stuff at the bottom would always be bubbling one direction and the stuff at the top would be bubbling the other. I don't know if maybe, if anything, like maybe if you just masked it by velocity, so that like only the more quickly moving particles get included, that might be better. But yeah, it looks like it's a little bit quicker to flipbook without the particles being VDB surfaced every frame. This stuff right here is really nice. I guess the other thing you could do is like just a more different approach or whatever is if you just seed or you start your simulation with a bit of it on the top where you have less on the bottom, then it would be, you just speed up this transfer. I'm just trying to think if to actually accomplish like over the duration of a shot, you see everything move from one side to the other, what the best way is to accomplish that. But yeah, you could see here this box group being lower. I think it should help. This is a funny one. Yeah, I might go and do that. I think there's going to be a few advantages to doing it this way. So just take our flip tank and move it higher. So the reason behind this is that it will allow you to more quickly transfer all of the fluid from the top to from the bottom to the top. And then overall, it's just a lot less. It's like 1/3 of the particles. So you'll get the same detail, the same particle separation, but it will be quicker to simulate and do all that stuff. So I just want to make sure my points here. I think we need to update the setting here for this. So that's these will just appear different places. Should be good. See what happens. So this should be like 3 times as fast to flipbook. I guess because the original sheet is like thinner, it's getting less stuff is allowed to like pull off of it, if that makes sense. Like a sphere will grab the entire top and bottom, whereas before it would the portions that were not included in the group weren't were kind of weighing it down more, if that makes sense. So it is a bit of a shame to lose. I don't know. It was a little bit more interesting when it was. Some of these tendrils were more incomplete or whatever. Split the difference. Just a slightly taller tank. Let's go in. Just pin the view there. Set this to 2.5. Maybe a little bit. So we were at 35, 3.5 million particles originally. And maybe go to 2 million. Something 1.7 million roughly. Let's give it a try. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I just want more Y variation. Yeah, it might be that my spheres are, because I didn't move them around too much. Let's go back here. Yeah, I think that's the bigger cause of the issue, is that they were always just pulling stuff from the top instead of starting submerged. So I could probably go back to my thinner shell and then just take this base box, start it lower. I don't know if this should be thinner. All right, I'm gonna give that a try. So yeah, I think that was a bigger issue, is that the tendrils were always pulling directly from the top of the tank, instead of, we're getting more interesting results when they started submerged and then stuff was like rolling, pulling the top off of them and stuff. It's generating the undulation. I think it's just the kind of the balance between surface tension and gas particle separation, or the particle separation. So it's like, I think even without particle separation, you kind of get this look from the surface tension. It's not like physically accurate surface tension the way that they're doing it. It's more of using volume, it's using the curvature of the volume, and like the way that it gets applied, you end up with this undulation, or different. I don't know if it's undulation or it's like just differentiation in amplitude. This is kind of based maybe a little bit off of the kind of like volume, like area, or the amount of droplets that you have, if that makes sense. Yeah, I mean, I don't think it kind of looks like some fluid might as you pour it, but I don't think it's because of the same physical properties necessarily. Water coming out of a hose. Yeah, I mean, so the way that surface tension works is it can cause undulation in droplets, like anti-gravity droplets kind of vibrate or whatever, but I don't think that this is the same physics behind it. But I mean, it kind of works out because you get, I don't know, visually some interesting similarities. .24 hertz sine waves to water. Yeah, it does have a bit of that look, like that kind of same oscillation.
Welcome to the internet, your gateway to adventure.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I think I'm gonna make one more change. If you guys want to see what my scene looks like right now, that's copy of it. I think I'm just going to go in and tweak the sphere spawning method. So I think there's just, they're staying around too long. So if I go into this pop network, life variance, if I just move it to 1, the longest they'll be allowed is like 1.25 or whatever. Then I might do more of them. And the largest P scale, it was cap at 1. And I might just globally reduce the size of them. We're just trying to get more tendrils going up, but less like super long ones or less ones that stay around forever. It might even go lower than 1. I might do even less thinner fluid for right now. Just to see what happens. So I think some of the ones that are just too thick, too too girthy, kind of break the look of things, or like it's just a little unrealistic. Like you never, even with paint or things like that in real life, you never see fluid like that thick of tendrils ripping up or whatever. This stuff is pretty cool, as you get some more little droplets. Yeah, I don't know, something stands out a little bit of just the super long ones. Kind of look a little bit funky. You often do transitions between sim types, going from flip. Not too often. You're thinking for practical reasons or like super magical, abstract reasons? Yeah, it could be cool. I've seen some people do like smoke to flip for like a dry ice effect or something like that. I kind of feel like it's a little bit of like a novelty. I don't know. But it could be cool if these were like the little droplets turn into soft body spheres or something like that. Could be a cool idea. I like the hourglass kind of idea. Forget who was saying it earlier. Who was it? Dubtronics? RH2? I lost it. But yeah, it still seems a little bit too honey in space. I haven't seen any reference of it. I think with the viscosity of it is pretty cool. It's like non-Newtonian fluid. This is the one you're thinking about? Yeah, that part's really cool. Yeah, I think you could probably get that pretty easily with the just the default like viscosity. FEM, I would just start with a flip. I don't know, like if you have to do it for a client, you could do it, but be cool to wait until Houdini 18 maybe. Or, I'm sorry, 18.5. They have some improvements for the viscosity that's like a bit of an optimization. So that it's easier for it to calculate. You could do it with vellum grains. Did it save? I would think it might be a little too slow, like to simulate that many particles. Yeah, this moment here, I feel like you get the best results with flip in terms of just being able to stretch and smear while retaining these shapes. So yeah, that's why I would say that. Honey. It seems like a weird honey though. I guess they just have special jars that they keep it in space. Seems more like tahini or I don't know, something like. Thanks for hanging out, Steve. Have a good rest of your weekend. Yeah, I'm getting close to ending, I think, as well. Yeah, I don't know if this is a pretty cool start. You have lavender honey? 'Cause I've never even heard of that. I didn't know they make it. It's the sugar. So yeah, I think eventually it'd be cool to, I don't know if I just need more droplets. Maybe if you do like a ramp over time. So it starts slow and then in the middle of your shot, like a ton of droplets start getting created. Maybe we'll do that. It's like one last thing. So let's try a few things. Just go in here, constant birth rate, maybe at like frame 48. Get out of that view. We'll go up to like 30, 75. And see what happens. Maybe this movement, they're able to slide around more quickly. And then just over time, gonna make the spheres a little bit bigger. Just expand them. Take it easy, Dubtronics. I'm just gonna run this one more time. And maybe just go up higher resolution just so it runs more quickly. Let's try it. I think I forgot to do. Did I click the other button? The other flipbook button? Okay. Yeah, I think I've clicked the different button than I thought I was. I use this quick enough, it doesn't really matter. But yeah, so this one, I'm just trying, once this hits like frame 48, the tendrils should be a little bit thicker over time, and then a lot more of them should be getting spawned or pulled up. So I'll just let this one simulate. Should be the following GIF. Just gonna let this simulate. I'll be back in a minute. Just gonna get some more water. You posted the gift, player 2? The hydration bots? Is this is the name of it? Hydromel? Or this is Celine Drip? You've now oh the alert. Ah, that I thought okay, yeah, the following alert. Yeah, I was looking it up over here. It says it's like a mead beverage. This is like just a super sugary wine, essentially. Or it's got a, what is the alcohol by volume for it? The drink of the gods. Chuchin? %? Alcohol by volume? Alright, so it looks like it's almost done flip booking. Definitely is filling up the top of it more quickly. Ambrosia. I don't know, I'm not too familiar with the specialty the specialty beverages. I feel like most of the other wines or the really funky fermented stuff is a bit of a novelty. It can be. All right, so I'm gonna get the directory open here. So yeah, I think it's mainly just a matter of kind of art directing or animating the certain elements of the emitter to get it just more choreographed in terms of how quickly stuff gets transferred from the top to the bottom. But I really like the idea of having it rotate at the end and then just playing again. I think that's a pretty interesting idea. Maybe switching things to like a disc instead of a box will make it look a little bit less like just a test simulation, more, I don't know, the more interesting design. So yeah, simulation is done, almost. Did you ever finish the tire burnout sequence? Are you postponing it like I used to postpone my assignments? I'm in the progress of kind of rendering it and tweaking it and stuff like that. I just haven't had enough time to do the final render with Redshift. Could open it up here at the end if you want to take a look in a second. So yeah, this animation we just did. I put a link to the same file. So this final link here for today is where I'm going to leave this file. Examine some stuff here. I don't know if this one was it. I'd started to make some more tweaks and stuff like that and was working on some of the post effects, but still still isn't completely finished. The render times were starting to get a little bit long for some aspects of it and stuff like that. But yeah, it's on my list of things that are close to finished, but not fully finished yet. I was starting to think of like adding on to it when I had to stop for a little bit. But yeah, one thing I don't know if I'll be able to do it, but like stay at 99% forever. It will be done. Yeah, it's close. So yeah, if you were building this out into like a little sequence or something, like starting the camera punched in at this reflection here, and then panning up to like see the actual scene, that'd be a really interesting cinematic camera work or something. I feel like to do that, I would need to actually build this out into like a simulation with ripples and stuff shifting around, but just something that popped into my head was like camera work seeing the vehicle like mirrored upside down, distorted, and then moving up here to frame the whole shot. It would be a weird like macro transition. It would probably be, I don't know if I'm skilled enough to pull it off, but something I was thinking about. 1080 Ti, quarter of the room grind. Yeah, I don't know. It's definitely, to do that level of things is pretty slow to render. I did start to do depth of field here. I think it's not super. It's a pretty subtle depth of field, but it was starting to help things a little bit. Yeah, I don't know. This maybe the middle of it should just be more sheets of fluid, or I guess if you could try like increasing the gravity, the negative gravity as well, so that stuff is really like accelerating or pulling up more quickly. But yeah, this is going to be it for today, I believe. We'll be back Wednesday. Thanks for helping me test out this new file publishing system. I'm going to keep working on see if I have other ideas for even making it more smooth, more easy for people to follow along. I feel like it's a good step in the right direction. All right, enjoy the rest of your weekend. See everyone Wednesday.